Hello happy souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111. My beautiful friends, I've got a juicy reading for you today, and this is a new topic that I haven't read on before. This is a reading all about you. You all have power. You are all divine beings of love and light, and whatever struggles you are going through right now, whether it be in love or otherwise, there is always a way forward that's more productive, more peaceful, more happy than what you're going through right now. There is always room to grow and to move in the right direction. So this reading is all about helping you find that sweet spot that leads to that productive change. It's about triggering or activating your awareness so that you can figure out where you need to do the work to help unravel whatever difficulties you're facing at the moment. I'm really excited to do this reading. It feels very divinely guided. My guides have been pressing me to do it for a while. And I know that generally these readings aren't popular topics. You know, people want to hear all about their person. But I really feel that you guys, my audience, have grown so much and you're all so ready, you know, to hear about yourselves and to work on yourselves. So I really feel like you're going to enjoy this. Please let me know in the comments, you know, let me know your feedback. It's really important to me that obviously I'm providing content that you want. So I'm open to your feedback, critical or otherwise. Please do let me know in the comments. Anyway, before I begin, I just want to say a very quick thanks to the very generous soul that sent me this beautiful deck. Unfortunately, it didn't come with a note, so I don't know who this was from. If you sent this to me, thank you so much. This is the Tower of the Divine. It's absolutely stunning, and we're using it today in pile 3. So thank you, happy soul, if you sent me this. I really appreciate it. I have actually closed my Amazon wish list for now because, quite frankly, I have so many decks and I'm running out of space. So I probably need to have a rejig before I can accept any more gifts like this. But I do appreciate your generosity. You guys really have helped me build a fabulous collection, and that helps to keep my readings really fresh. If you would like to exchange energy, you can still make a donation via PayPal, or of course you can just watch one of my commercials, which is a win-win for everyone. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your love and light this way. Also, just a quick reminder, on my last video, I launched a very special giveaway for this month. I'm just going to show you quickly the bundle I'm giving away. There's this beautiful double terminated quartz. We've got an amethyst chunk. We've got some clear quartz, including a twin quartz and a master teacher. And let me just grab these other bits. And we've got the protection and grounding bundle as well. If you want to hear more about these crystals, check out my last video. It was called You and Them, What's Really Going On. And there's a 10-minute intro on that video in which I show you those crystals in more detail. To enter, all the instructions are in the comments and the description box down below. There's a little link to a web form you need to fill out, and there's 4 simple steps. Like the video, comment with I love LUMI Gemstones, because this is a giveaway in collaboration with them. Make sure you're subscribing to my channel, and make sure that you are following LUMI Gemstones on Instagram. Of course, you have to complete the web form as well. That supplies me with your email address, and it means that I can get in touch with a winner. So don't forget that very important step. You won't be entered if you don't fill out the web form. Okay, so let's move forward with this. I've got 3 piles for you. In pile number 1, we've got the Moon Power Tarot with Amazonite. In pile number 2, we've got this gorgeous holographic Luminous Tarot with Amethyst. And in pile number 3, this lovely new deck from the very generous soul that sent it to me, Tower of the Divine with Serpentine. We're going to be using oracle cards and charms and the tarot coins, maybe the message cards as well today. So stay tuned. I'm going to get all the details. We're going to go really in depth. There's no right or wrong way to choose a pile. Just see which one you're drawn to. And if you are drawn to more than one, it just means there's messages in more than one pile for you, and that's okay. Now, the timestamps are in the description box below, so that will take you straight to your pile, and I will see you there. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Moon Power Tarot with Amazonite. And if you skipped the intro today, you might want to go back and watch it, because I talk about my lovely giveaway. I'm giving away a bundle of crystals this month. So if you want to find out how to enter, make sure you check the intro. But let's get on with this reading. Today, this is all about you. And these really are, you know, the most super helpful readings, because whilst it's interesting to, you know, sneak into the lives of our person or try and get answers about what's happening in our relationships, ultimately, our greatest power is in working with our own energy. That's where all our power is. That's how we manifest and achieve exactly what we want. It doesn't serve us to ignore what's going on in our own energy. So in this reading, I'm going to go really deep about your own energy, your own circumstances, your own perspective. We're going to look at what you're not acknowledging. And it's all about finding the sweet spot that helps you grow. It's about triggering your own awareness to help you understand where you need to make changes in your life and how you can, you know, move towards a much more happy, productive and peaceful life. So this one's for you. Thank you for being here. Remember, these are general readings. They're not going to fit 100% for everyone. So it's important to apply a high level of discernment. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And as always, ask for a sign. Take a nice deep breath. Set the intention that you're open to receiving the messages you need. And a sign can be anything at all. It just helps the universe give you a little validation, helps anchor the messages that come through. And you may notice your sign outside of this reading as well. And you can ask for anything at all. It could be a symbol, an object, a phrase, numbers, colours, a goddess or a deity. It could be an animal, whatever works for you. Hopefully it will come through in this reading, which will help you trust in the messages that are coming forward for you. We're going to use a ton of different decks today. We will go really in depth. We're going to get all the details, and there will be an extended reading. If this resonates for you, you can always find the link to that in the description box below. So we've given those a really good shuffle. Let's see what the universe has for you. All about you, pile one. We've got the Hermit. We have got the 10 of Pentacles. We've got the 2 of Wands in reverse. We've got the Lovers in reverse. We've got the 2 of Pentacles. And we have got the 7 of Wands. I'm going to get some more to clarify. The King of Swords in reverse. The Page of Swords. The 8 of Swords. The World, Strength in reverse, the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay, I'm going to get some oracle cards as well. Let's start with the Divine Animals Oracle. I think we've got some room down the side here. Okay, we've got Oyster. It's an interesting one. We've got the Cobra. You've got 2 snakes showing up here. And we have got Starfish. And from the Goddess Power Oracle, we've got Hera, Alliance, number 21, so that matches the World. We've got Artemis, Focus. And we have Ariane Rod, I think that's how you say it, number 3 for Time. I'm going to get more as we go, but let me just get a couple more out on the table before we start. This is the Queen of the Moon Oracle. We've got the Wolf Moon again, Hunger. The wolf is coming through so much for me recently. First quarter moon, Assessing. And I think we can get 2 more. I'm going to go with... This is the Light Language, no, the Secret Language of Light deck. This was a gift from Joy. If you've not checked out her channel, it's called A Journey in Light. She still offers private readings as well if you wanted, you know, a recommendation for a trusted reader to go to for a private reading. She's absolutely brilliant. I will link her channel in the description box below. That's too many, so I'm going to put these back. Let's just get a couple of these since we've got some room on the table. We've got Nothing Has Gone Wrong. And we've got Whispers. Perfect. Okay, let's do this, pile one. All about you. You've got the power, you really have. So what I'm seeing happening in your life at the moment is you're very much withdrawn from a lot of your social and familial interactions. I say family because we've got the 10 of Pentacles here, and there's an energy here of you feeling quite stuck. It's kind of like you're very frustrated in your present circumstances because of the people around you, the situation and how it's flowing. You feel trapped. And look at this, how she's kind of got her face buried in a book. The Hermit is all about the power of solitude and those introspective energies. So when we're in Hermit energy, and this is Virgo coming through, by the way, there's a lot of earth energy here. It could also be Capricorn or Taurus. But when the Hermit comes out, this is someone that's digging deep and really looking within. And it feels like your awareness has been triggered so far as recognizing that things around you are out of balance. And you're trying to figure out how to move forward with this, what to do around this. You may be facing a lot of judgment or harsh questioning from your family. I'm hearing that they don't necessarily agree with how you're living your life right now. And, you know, you feel very frustrated. You feel very challenged by these energies. And it's a very triggering experience for you. But you are actually in the process of creating something really beautiful. And I'm being guided to remind you that you must stop beating yourself up. Everything is a step process, and you are on the right path. As it says here, nothing has gone wrong. You know, even though it feels like your life is a bit upside down at the moment, and we see here with this Two of Wands, it feels like you have no power to make decisions for yourself because you're so crushed by the responsibility of meeting the obligations that others have placed upon you, the demands of other areas in your life. And so it just feels very stuck and like you have no decision-making power. But nothing has gone wrong. You know, the universe is reminding you everything is as it's meant to be. And actually what's happening in your life right now is empowering you to reflect on how things are so that you can begin to move forward. Because in truth, you have always pleased other people first. You're not at all comfortable with making decisions for yourself because that requires you to be okay with other people's discomfort. When you've got a lot of people disagreeing with your choices and your perspective, you're feeling this great weight of pressure to align with what they want, and you're really questioning your own truth. And what's really interesting here is we've got the King of Swords in reverse and the Page of Swords. Now, the King of Swords is all about intellect, mental clarity, truth-seeking and clear communication. So when this energy comes up as blocked, it's no wonder that you've withdrawn and taken a step back and you've decided, you know, I can't get a word in with these people. They're just not seeing my perspective, so I'm not going to say anything at all. But this has triggered all kinds of inner child pain. You know, the Page of Swords is the much more immature version of the King. And when it comes to your family, you still feel stuck in this dynamic of I'm the child, you're the adult, you're right, I'm wrong. You know, it feels like there's a lot of pressure on you, a lot of people saying you don't understand what you need, you've got this wrong. And, you know, this is really triggering a deep inferiority complex within you. And I feel like your family have always been this way, you know, and you're being challenged now to break out of that cycle. As an adult, you have to start making choices and decisions for yourself, and you don't need anyone else to agree with you. It's not your job to make other people comfortable with what you decide is right for you. And we see here again, you know, that Two of Wands, that inability to make a decision for yourself, and it's clarified here by the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is all about limiting beliefs, and this is such an interesting card here. I want to bring it up close so you can see it. We see this person tangled up by the media cable that's coming out of her television and this, I don't know what that machine is, maybe a DVD player or something. She's completely tangled up here. There's a ton of videos. I'm going to read some out in case they resonate for you. We've got X-Files, Mad Max, Gremlins, Harry Potter, The Shining, Battle Royale. What else can I see there? Starship, Donkey Kong. So there's games there as well, isn't there? Lord of the Rings. There's a little cat there for those of you looking for signs. Also a little dog robot. I don't know what that's from. Maybe you will. But, you know, this feels like you're living at home. You're trapped at home in the same room you grew up in, the same space you grew up in. That might not be a literal specific circumstance for you. It could be the feeling of still being trapped in that adolescent dynamic rather than actually physically being there. But you're tangled up, you know, in taking your power back. It's like you feel so trapped by how other people think you should be living. Now, we also have a relationship here that's not working out, and it may feel like the end of your world. You know, when the Lovers comes up in reverse, and this is such a twin flamey image, look at this, the flames sparking in the middle. So when this is blocked, And the world being the energy of completion here, this feeling that it's over and it's dead, and you know, there's so much grief and challenge around this. You know, these changes that are occurring in your life right now have probably left you feeling bereft, confused, not sure which direction to move in. There's a feeling of a lack of stability here and a lack of decisive power to help drive you forward. It's kind of I don't know what to do next, and there's so much pressure on me to behave, choose and act in a certain way. The guidance is release that pressure. No one else has the right to decide for you. They only have that power if you give it to them, and you don't have to give it to them. The Two of Pentacles calls you to lean back into your own energy and to create the change that you need. It's clarified by Strength in reverse, which reveals that you don't feel brave enough to do that right now. You know, you don't feel like you have the strength and fortitude to actually move forward on your own. And this reveals the real issue, because there's a very codependent energy here. When we are very trapped by the opinions of others, it's because we don't really want to choose for ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. We trust other people. And that's what keeps us stuck in this dynamic where we're so trapped by their opinions. So there's a part of you that's ready to break free. There's a part of you that's becoming aware that this isn't a healthy dynamic for you, and that you've got to start standing on your own 2 feet and making decisions that suit you. And I understand how challenging that is, because quite often, you know, you've arrived at this situation because you've not developed healthy boundaries, which is learning when to say no. It's learning when to make yourself a priority. That's what having healthy boundaries means. And when we haven't had that, we've essentially trained all of the people around us that we're going to meet their needs before our own. Now, they may have trained us to meet their needs before we meet our own, but regardless, there's now a pattern or dynamic that's in motion where they're very accustomed to getting their needs met by you. They're very accustomed to making decisions for you, to telling you how it should be. And, you know, you're now realizing that this isn't healthy, but you're also recognizing how difficult it is to create change in that situation. It does require strength and courage, and you think you don't have it. But deep down, that strength is in you, that power is in you. You just have to take it. You've got to be bold enough to take that step forward. And again, boundaries is referenced here with the 7 of Wands. And I want to show you this card as well, because she's holding a book up and it says, don't panic. You know, this is about releasing anxiety and empowering yourself to move forward. When the Knight of Wands comes up in reverse, this is someone whose boundaries are so slack and so restrictive because of what's happening around them that they don't feel able to travel forward on their own. The Knight of Wands is a very driven energy. It's that spark of divine inspiration that, you know, causes us to rush forward and follow that impulse of what we feel is right. And that energy is blocked because, you know, you're too afraid to challenge the status quo. You know, you're afraid to be yourself. You're afraid to choose for yourself. Now, this family dynamic may not be parents, siblings, and so forth. It could be a spouse and children that you're considering. And if that's the case, I will remind you that the best spouse and the best parent is a happy parent. It is okay to put your needs first. You know, this reminds me, you know, on aeroplanes when the little mask drops down in an emergency, and the hostess always reminds you to put your mask on before you put the kids' mask on. That's because if you don't survive, they've got no one to take care of them. That's a beautiful example of how you have to take care of yourself first. When you are happy and comfortable in your own energy, that's when you're going to be the best parent. That's when you can look after the people you love the best. You've got to fill your own tank first. Anyone that denies you that right and calls you selfish has simply got too accustomed to you meeting their needs. And I guarantee that they meet their needs. They don't put you first. Certainly with children, it's a different expectation. Okay, we're there to meet our children's needs. But there are no adults that are entitled to make that demand of you. And you're being called to step into your power, to develop healthier boundaries, to unravel all of these limiting beliefs that have been keeping you stuck. And we've got here alliance, focus, and time. Now, the alliance card for me is asking you to reach out into your community and find your soul tribe. You need to find people that understand what you're going through right now and that can support you without judgment. And you need to focus, and you certainly need to give yourself time to make these changes. Nothing can change if you're not applying focus and time to it. And what's been happening here is that you've been watching, reading, learning about all of this stuff, but you're not taking action or actually giving yourself time to put any of it into practice. The wolf moon reveals that you are hungry to step into your power. You know, you've been assessing your own intuition. Again, with this number 9, this mirrors the hermit energy, but we see the moon here is half full. It's like you're not really allowing your higher senses to come alive and guide you. Again, you do not trust yourself. And my darling, you can. You can trust yourself. You know, nothing has gone wrong. Listen to the whispers of your own soul. Everything is happening for you right now. And whilst this feels very, very challenging and you feel very, very stuck, this level of discomfort indicates there's about to be a massive shift, because nothing changes without discomfort. Think of it about 2 scales. You know, if you want to change what's on the scales, you've got to take something off and it's going to shift out of balance temporarily. You know, when you put something back on, it all moves back into balance. So this is a case of, you know, learning as to what needs to be removed from your life, what needs to be changed and challenged so that you can restore balance in a way that feels good to you. You know, right now, things are wobbly. And it's because you're not doing what's right for you. And this is what you're being called to do, to step into your power and to recognize that this is your story. This is your life. You're the leading actor in this movie. And you get to make the decisions and write the script. Your story is unwritten. Every day you have an opportunity to start a new chapter. And previously, other people have been responsible for dictating how that story flowed. But no more. You are now opening up and stepping into your power. The oyster is an interesting energy. This card doesn't come out very often. And think about what the oyster holds. It's clamped shut. It has incredible power to shut down, but it holds treasure within. You're being asked to allow yourself to gently open and receive all of the divinity, the intuition, the guidance and the love that is available to you. It's inside of you. It's like a deeply buried treasure held within your very own soul, your higher consciousness. As you expand, you will have access to this. We've got 2 snakes here, the power of creation and transformation. Think about how snakes shed skin, and they have to transform. It's too uncomfortable for them not to. In fact, if a snake resists shedding its skin, it becomes very unwell. It could even die. So, you know, the snake is a powerful messenger here that you are a creator of your own story, and you've got to shed skin. You've got to move into the next chapter. The starfish reminds us how you're still clinging on to the old conditioning programs and beliefs of the past that aren't serving you. You know, and also how others are clinging to you for their own sustenance. There's lots of energy vampires around you that, you know, really feel very entitled to your time, to your love, to your attention. And you've got to start giving that to yourself. You have to start choosing you. You are not a victim. You know, you like to complain about all of these people putting their demands and obligations on you and how drained you are, but they cannot do that without your permission. It's not their fault. You're certainly not a victim in these circumstances. You are a willing participant to these people's demands because you won't say no. And I understand how uncomfortable it is to say no. And I want to reassure you, I myself have been through this process. This is what happens when we wake up. We realise how things are skewed in our lives. We realise where we've been giving our power away, and learning to take it back is not an easy task. So I truly appreciate while you're feeling so triggered and so challenged by these changes, but you are now vibrating at a different level. And that means that certain people are going to vibrate out of your experience, and that's okay. Now, I want to get some clarifiers to this connection, because in part, this has both empowered you and woken you up, but you're perceiving it as a dreadful ending, and you're not seeing it as the gift that it is. So let's get some more cards quickly to clarify what you're not acknowledging about yourself in that situation. Remember, this is about you. What you're not acknowledging about yourself in this relationship. Okay, so we've got the Ten of Swords in reverse. We've got the Knight of Cups in reverse. We've got the Four of Swords. We've got the Devil in reverse. We've got the Fool. And we've got the Sun in reverse. Clarifying these, we've got the Hierophant, the Queen of Pentacles, the King of Cups in reverse, the Hanged Man, the Page of Wands in reverse, and the Page of Cups in reverse. So lots of pages coming through for you. Remember, we had the Page of Swords there as well. So what you're not acknowledging about this relationship is it has triggered a deep-seated wound that was already there. When this person walked out of your experience and you felt abandoned, you felt rejected, you felt all of that pain, you're not acknowledging that you were already wounded. And all that's happened is this person's energy has come along and rubbed salt in their wounds. They've disturbed a deeply buried wound that already existed within you. You're meant to learn from this. This is what the Hierophant is. It's a powerful lesson. And number 5 is actually the number of the year we're in. 2021 is a number 5 year. It's a year of higher learning, transformation, and becoming our own authority. And look at how there's a collaborative effort here. There's a community spirit. There's an alliance. Again, this is about connecting with your soul tribe, and through that process, meeting like-minded souls, getting on the right path, opening up your intuition and starting a new cycle. You can't heal if you don't acknowledge that you're wounded. The first step here is to recognize that it wasn't this person that hurt you. They are simply disturbing a pain that was already there, which is why it hurts so much. And you really need to focus on healing this. You need to stop chasing and step into your own power. When the Knight of Cups comes up in reverse, this is asking you to stop charging forward in an emotional way. And this reveals again the energy of codependency, where you're so accustomed to having your needs met, to being validated and approved of, which is why you people please. You know, people pleasing is actually a subconscious attempt to control people's perception of us. We do what they want because we don't want them to think badly of us. We want to be perceived as a nice, loving, decent person. And so we meet all of their needs. But you also, when you're overgiving, you also push people away. For sure, there's people here that have trained you to overgive, but in a relationship, that dynamic doesn't work. And also when you're overgiving, you don't actually leave space to receive. So here you're being challenged to take care of yourself. The Queen of Pentacles is all about self-sufficiency, self-empowerment, standing in your own power, not just emotionally, but materially as well. You really need to question how you're relying on other people, whether materially, financially, emotionally, or mentally. It's never safe to put our stability, our happiness in other people's hands. They will drop you every time. I wrote about this on my community page recently. The only person we can truly trust is ourselves. And you really have to learn to put trust in yourselves. There's a period of recovery that's required here. And we see here this lady's got her fingers in her ears. She's trying to see, but she's not prepared to listen. And when the King of Cups comes up in reverse, this is very distorted emotional energy. You know, you're not recognizing that because you've been trained and coerced into pleasing others, that you also have these negative traits. Obviously, when people coerce you emotionally, you're going to learn that that's an okay thing to do. And so you don't recognize that your own behaviors are also emotionally coercive. You know, it really hurts me when you don't meet my needs. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. You know, that's a guilt trip. You do that to people as well because it's what people have done to you. There's no shame in it. I'm not judging you, but this is what's happening here, and you've got to be aware of your own behaviors and how you're actually perpetuating the same cycle that's trapping you. The Devil in reverse, again, you're not recognizing your codependency. You need to surrender to this perspective so that you can start to make changes, and you need to take that leap of faith. You know, this is a new beginning only if you allow it to be. When the pages come up in reverse, they are showing us blocked inner child pain. And the Page of Wands and the Page of Cups refer to your intuition, and they refer to your emotional depths. You know, you've got a pained inner child within you, and your experience, your communication, your reactions to your circumstances are all being filtered through that inner child pain. And so you're not stepping into the deep emotional maturity that your soul has access to. You are a fountain of wisdom. You can trust yourself. You have this power within you. But right now, the truth is not illuminated, and you're carrying so much pain forward from your childhood, which is badly interfering with your life right now. You only need to pause and recognize it, and that is already the beginning of something new and something beautiful. If you can acknowledge this about yourself, you are now empowered to create beautiful change. Again, listen to the whisper of your soul. Nothing has gone wrong. This is a divine number. 7 is the number of divinity, divine intervention. It reminds you that everything is as it's supposed to be. And actually, you know, this relationship that you think is over, it isn't. There's an alliance there which is helping to teach you. Yeah, these are both 21 cards. You know, your world is upside down right now because it needs to be brought into balance. And this person is playing a significant role in triggering that awareness in you. So you need to pay attention to what's being shown. You need to pay attention to the feelings that are coming up. And instead of resenting them and saying to yourself, I don't want to do this, I don't want to feel this way, you need to acknowledge these unpleasant feelings as triggers. They are triggers, they are red flags from your inner being that's saying something's wrong here, something's broken here. There is something here I need to address, fix, transmute, resolve. Yeah, pain is a gift. We never suffer in vain, and our ability to suffer is in direct proportion to our ability to experience love and joy. So even though you may feel like you've crashed and burned and the world is against you and that this pain is deeply unfair, you must understand that it's actually driving you forward to the biggest, brightest love and joy and light that you could possibly experience. Being in the dark right now, being at rock bottom, means you're going to be propelled, you know, to the very top. But obviously that journey is uncomfortable. But the longer you resist it and dwell in resentment and dwell in the energy of self-pity and complaining and I don't want this, the longer you delay your own healing. And you don't want to do that. No, you deserve so much more. You are ready to grow, Pile 1. You're ready to step out of this very limiting dynamic in your life in which others get to have a say in how you live. That's not how it works. You get to decide, and you can't blame anyone else for how things have worked out. You've been a willing participant. No one gets to control you and choose for you and decide your circumstances without your permission. And you can argue that, well, you know, they're so headstrong, they're so manipulative, they're such a bully, they're so abusive. But as an adult, you always have a choice to say no. It's okay that you didn't have the strength to say no. You've got to forgive yourself for that. But you do have to take responsibility and learn, you know, to say no. The buck stops with you. There is no value in blaming other people. We're always accountable for our own choices, no matter how manipulated or coerced we've been. We've got to, you know, we're always being challenged to rise up and choose for ourselves. So let's get some guidance cards for you. This is the, which oracle is this? This is the Work Your Light oracle. All the decks I use are listed in the description box below. For those of you looking for signs, we've got birds and tigers in here. There's a dragonfly down there, a unicorn. Let's get some more. We've got transformation. We've got mirror. We've got the ever unfolding rose. And we've got counsel of light. What else am I going to get? I want to get some more animal cards. We're going to get some charms and tarot coins as well. Another dragonfly. The bat. The zebra. The raccoon. One more. And the unicorn. Another unicorn for you. And finally, from the cards, I'm going to get a Rumi card and I'm going to read this out to you from the book at the end. I absolutely adore Rumi. Beyond the threshold of fear. Actually, let's get you some crystal cards as well. What crystals do you need to work with to help you move through this? I'm not going to read these out. I'm going to hold them up to the camera so that you can pause the camera and read them. Take a screenshot if you would like. So for you, we've got agate, Gemini, Mercury energy. So that's connected to communication. And obviously Gemini is the twin sign. We've got, okay, 2 here, green aventurine, Aries in Mercury. So lots of communication issues that need to be tackled here. And we've got Cobalto Calcite, Cancer in Venus. This is connected to love. And remember, Cancerian energy, tough exterior, soft center. You know, what is it you're not acknowledging, not letting in? So those are the stones you need to work with. Let's get some charms and tarot coins as well. Just give these a shake. Whoop. Okay, we have the spider web, the You're a Loser iPod charm, the Losers Club. Wow. Don't overthink it. And that's just the back of one of the charms, so we'll put that back. And we've got the blank piece of paper. And let me get some tarot coins as well. Okay, we've got 4 there. We have got the 6 of Swords, the 5 of Swords, the World, that's already come up for you, and the High Priestess. You are so powerful, Power One. So these cards are really interesting. Transformation, things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. Now remember that deep healing is uncomfortable, change is uncomfortable. You have to trust that you're transforming right now, and all of this turbulence and uncomfortable energy is for the greater good. Mirror who or what is triggering you. Remember that the people around us are vibrating towards us because there's something in our energetic field that attracts it. Everybody is a mirror. They're a reflection of our own inner pain, insecurities, and so forth. So, you know, rather than despising and hating and being resentful of the people that are causing you discomfort right now, you need to ask yourself, what are they mirroring about what's already in me? What am I being triggered to learn about this experience? And again, the ever unfolding rose, cracked open, it's happening for you, not to you. You can trust that this is everything as it's meant to be. Nothing is wrong. And again, the Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. You've got the unicorn come through twice for you. You've got the High Priestess. This is asking you to open up and to listen to your own inner truth because it's strong. You are powerful. I know you don't believe you are. I know you struggle to accept your own divinity, but you are a powerful being. You are transforming into the truth of who you are. The dragonfly. The dragonfly is a creature that skims the surface of the water. It doesn't dive in. And remember, water represents the emotional body. And so what you're being asked to do here is to get deep into your own feelings so that you can start to unravel and understand them without pointing the finger and blaming someone else. You also have the bat here. You know, the bat is about, think about how bats communicate and how, you know, how they move. They don't see with their eyes. They use vibration, they use sound to determine the best way forward. You're being asked to tap into your higher senses and to recognize that you have more power than you believe to transform. And you need to be adaptable. You know, the zebra is beautifully camouflaged, but look at his third eye, alive. You know, this is a process of being adaptable, of trying to move with the energies that present rather than resist them, just to go with the flow. You know, there's a lot of cards here that ask you to recognize your own shadow aspects, in particular the raccoon. You know, now raccoons, that, you know, they're the kind of creature that will go digging around in the garbage for scraps. And so there's a message here as well about stop accepting breadcrumbs. No one is forcing you to stay in situations, relationships, or dynamics that don't serve you. You know, if people are not giving you the respect, love, kindness that you deserve, then you've got to stop showing up at their table and eating what's on offer. You've got to learn to recognize that these scraps aren't good enough for me. I'm going to go eat somewhere else. But, you know, you have access to this divinity. The Six of Swords asks you to move on. And the Five of Swords warns you that there will be conflict. You know, when we try and change these negative patterns, people are going to kick off because, as we said earlier, you've trained them that you're okay with people pleasing. You've trained them that you're going to meet their needs. And so you've got to start now re-educating those people. And honestly, some of them aren't going to take kindly to it. This is why asserting our boundaries requires that strength and fortitude. Now, above all else, the biggest message that comes through in the whole reading is your limiting beliefs about yourself. We've got 2 charms here that say you're a loser. You feel like you're part of the losers club, and you truly aren't. In fact, I need to show you the numbers on these. We've got 12401 on this one. And on this one, we've got 1958. These may be relevant to you or the signs you've asked for. But, you know, you've got to stop overthinking this and cycling through those very intrusive thoughts. You are a creator of your own reality. What you believe is what you are. So if you believe you're a loser, you're going to keep feeling like a loser, and other people are going to keep treating you like a loser. Your energy precedes you, and your energy is created by your own thought forms and beliefs. You know, you might be tangled up in this web right now, but it's a web of your own creation. You are bullying yourself. If your own inner dialogue is raging and telling you that you're a loser, no wonder you feel rotten. You've got to take responsibility for that and start paying attention to that inner dialogue. And as far as communication's concerned here, right now, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Communication came up strong. You know, we've got 2 cards referring to Mercury here, which means it's a challenge for you right now. And so it's important for you to know that you don't need to justify your decisions to anyone, that actually it's okay to say nothing. This is what I'm doing. That's all that's required. And if someone says, well, why? What about me? What about this? What about that? Just say, do you know what? I've thought really long and hard about this, and this is my decision. I'm really grateful for you respecting that. Even when they're not, that's called an assumptive statement. Even though they're not being grateful, I am so grateful to you for respecting my decision. You know, that commands their respect. So you've got to be mindful of how your communication has a dramatic impact on the conversation that occurs. You know, when someone challenges you and says, hold on a minute, Pile 1, I think that's a really bad decision. I don't like how that affects me, or this or that. I think you need to rethink it. When you allow yourself to justify and explain, what you're communicating to that person is that they have a say in your life. And you need to cut that shit out. You need to say to them, I really appreciate that feedback, but I've already made a decision. Thanks for caring enough to make a comment, but I'm going to move forward with this. Thanks for respecting my decision. I appreciate it. You know, you don't need them to agree with you. So, you know, a big part of this is to stop trying to convince others. When you're trying to convince others, you're really trying to convince yourself. Again, it boils back to a lack of trust in self. Your world is changing right now, Pile 1. You need to rise to the challenge and move with it. Now, we've got a couple of minutes left, and I want to get some messages from your higher self. These are message cards I've written on. What does your higher self want to communicate to you? I don't trust this situation. I wish I didn't have to be me anymore. Ground and protect. You are already in union. Separation is an illusion. I am lost. I turn everything into an argument because I don't know how to communicate. Remember, communication came up strong. Your anger is destructive. You do not appreciate your blessings. Learn to appreciate where you are and how far you have come instead of being so focused on where you are not. So powerful messages here. You know, you don't trust this situation because you're not aligned with your own truth. You're still relying on the validation of and approval of others. And when you don't get it, it hurts you. And this is why you jump to your own defense and start trying to justify and explain yourself. You know, I wish I didn't have to be me anymore. You know, this really reveals the truth of how you feel about yourself. You don't like who you are. You are sitting in the energy of non-acceptance. And you think it's because other people don't accept you. But other people don't accept you the way you want them to because you don't accept yourself. It all starts with you. When the ground and protect card comes up, you know, this means that you really need to take responsibility for your energy. There is a grounding and protection meditation on my website, on my YouTube channel. I strongly recommend you use it twice a day until you've understood and you can work through that method independently without listening to the guided meditation. But grounding and protecting should be something you do twice daily, like brushing your teeth, washing your hands, cleaning your body. You know, it's a very necessary part of our self-care. We have energy bodies as much as we have a physical body, and we have to take care of them and create space for ourselves by, you know, having that protection. If you have very loose boundaries, you've probably got a very permeable field, and you're very, very susceptible to the energy vampirism, people draining your energy, which is why you end up feeling so tired. And, you know, you really need to start taking care of yourself energetically and understanding that you have these other energy bodies. This refers, of course, to your twin connection. It's interesting it's come up there. You are already in union. Separation is an illusion. You know, this person, you are connected at a soul level, and regardless of whether they show up physically in your life, you are always connected, and this is where you're being called to find them. And I know that you feel lost right now, but that's because you're finding yourself, and that's okay. It's okay to feel lost. I turn everything into an argument because I don't know how to communicate. And again, because you get to jump to the defensive. You know, when someone challenges you, pay attention to what is triggering you. Don't react. If you feel a negative emotion, remove yourself where possible, calm down before reacting, because it says here your anger is destructive. And if you're dealing with a lot of narcissistic or abusive or manipulative people, they're very good at pushing the buttons. You know, they'll be really rude or mean or abusive or coercive, and when you call them out, they poke some buttons that makes you angry, and you end up looking like the destructive party. But you do not appreciate your blessings. Learn to appreciate where you are and how far you've come. You've got to move out of the energy of resentment and start accepting the love and light that exists in your life. Not everyone is bad. Not everything about your situation sucks. For a start, being here right now watching this reading means that you own an expensive device which allows you to watch it. Presumably you're in the first world, and if that's the case for you, you are already in the top 5% of wealthiest, blessed people on this planet. You know, you already have everything you need. You have a roof over your head, you have food in your belly, you've got a warm bed to sleep in at night. You know, most of your basic primary human needs are being met, and all the other needs, the need to be loved, the need to be respected, the need to be accepted, that comes from within. You can't put that responsibility on other people's shoulders. It's something that you're being challenged to give to yourself. I really hope that helped. That felt like it rushed from me like a torrent. I'm going to take this over to the extended now, part 1. We're going to go deeper. I think we need to get more messages from your higher self. I want to look deeper at this relationship that's triggered you and see what else comes through. So if this resonated, you can find the link for that in the description box below. But thank you for joining me here. I appreciate it so much. It really is an honor to read for you guys. I learned so much about myself through these readings, and actually I had this profound realization this week that this whole process of delivering these readings for you is a deeply personal one, because even if I haven't experienced these things directly, you know, in the first person, throughout my life I've still experienced it all, and it's still had a role in my programming and conditioning through watching movies, reading books, you know, witnessing other people's relationships and dialogue, seeing what's going on around me. It all creates the belief structure that I hold. And so doing these readings really helps to unravel that for me as well. And it really is such a great honor to share this journey with you. So thank you so much for being here and giving me this open forum to do that. And thank you so much to the very generous souls that like and subscribe, that comment down below. I love to hear your feedback. And thank you so much for watching my commercials. That really does make the greatest difference to my channel. It's a beautiful energy exchange, and I'm so, so very indebted to you for your presence here today. Anyway, don't forget to join the giveaway, and I will see you next time. Sending you lots of love. Bye. Whoopsie, I forgot to read your Rumi card. So I'm coming back, Beyond the Threshold of Fear. I'm so sorry, part 1. Right, it was number 25. Let's get this up in the book for you. Where's number 25? Here it is, Beyond the Threshold of Fear. Enter the lion's jungle. Don't think about getting hurt. Fearful thoughts are phantoms of the mind. No one is harmed in this jungle. Everything is compassion and love. It is your fear holding you back like a bar behind the door. How I celebrate life for you after so long away from home. You are finally returning. And by the way, when they say home, they mean home inside of you, the truth of who you are. It says, beyond the threshold of fear, you dispense with your doubts, hesitations, cautions, and tentativeness. They are old friends with whom you no longer have anything in common. Goodbye, old friends, I wish you well, you say, whilst turning to face the burgeoning light of a new and yet ancient world. You are visiting as though for the first time, and yet somehow also remember deep in your sacred heart. Finally, we can sit together in the charming courtyard at home, and we shall tell our tales of adventure and laugh, and will dance and sing. Eventually, day shall pass into night, and we'll gaze beneath our feet, our mouths gaping open in awe, and minds utterly blank, rendered dumb in sweet submission to beauty as we watch the world spinning on her axis. After so long, you are changing your relationship to fear. No more shall it hold you in its thrall. You are becoming able to observe it, to witness it, even to have compassion rather than resistance. Instead of unconsciously sabotaging your growth and choosing to slumber in darkness, you awaken and delight in the light and sound of your divine being. Push and pull, one step forward, one step back. It has been for so long and you have endured it. You are winning the race, brave one, and fear is left to fizzle out. As always, a far less beautiful firework than your passionate conviction for love anyway. Better to let that dazzling firework come to light, much more satisfying. Oh, what a spiritual marathon you have been running. Now the end is in sight. You are drinking the sacred waters to replenish you from your journey, and the cups are being pushed into your hands by encouraging angels as you approach that blessed sash marking the finish line. This is beautiful, Pile 1. You are on your way. Please keep going and trust. Sorry that I didn't put that right at the end. Hopefully you still caught it. I will see you next time. Lots of love. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen Luminous Tarot with the lovely piece of amethyst. And this reading is all about you. You have got the power to transform your life, Pile 2. You just need a bit of awareness. You just need to be activated and to find the right steps to move forward. And that's what this reading is all about helping you do. So I know we normally focus on relationships and maybe that will come up for you, but ultimately this is about you, what's going on in your life and how you can create improvements for yourself, how you can be even happier, how you can be more peaceful, how you can find a way forward to fulfill everything you need and want. Whew. If you skip the intro today, you might want to go back and check because I'm doing a fabulous giveaway at the moment. The instructions are in the description box below. But if you want to see the bundle of crystals I'm giving away, I show them off a little bit in the intro of this video. But actually the giveaway was launched on my last video. So the video before this one, which is called You and Them, What's Really Going On. There's a good meaty 10-minute intro in which I show you all those crystals in detail. You've got until the end of the month to sign up for that giveaway. All the steps are in the description box and the comments down below. Some of them have been donated by LUMI GEMSTONES. The giveaway is in collaboration with them. And some of them are from my own personal collection. Anyway, let's do this. We're going to use oracle cards as well. We are going to get some tarot coins and some charms. We're going to go really in depth. You guys know I love a nice detailed reading. And I haven't done this one before, so do let me know your feedback and if these are the kind of readings you want to see more of. It's always a bit of a gamble for me doing a new topic because the way the YouTube algorithm works. If my subscribers don't watch it, then YouTube won't promote it. And they'll also assume, oh look, Charlotte's posted a couple of shit videos. Let's stop recommending her. So it is a gamble. It's always a gamble to launch something new or change format. So I really hope you guys like this because these are the kind of readings I think are so important. We need to look at ourselves. Okay, let's do this. I love this deck so much, the way it shines in the light. Woo! Okay, they wanted to come out and I'm going to keep these as well that have turned over. We have got the 5 of Cups, the 7 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. We've got the Hierophant, we've got the 3 of Wands and the Star. Clarifying, we've got the Three of Swords and the Hermit. Let's take some more. The Nine of Wands in reverse. The Knight of Cups. The Five of Pentacles in reverse. And the Page of Wands in reverse. I'm going to get some oracle cards as well whilst we've got room on the table. Let's get it all out. I have to say, I'm feeling particularly alive this week. After, I know you guys know I didn't really post much in the last week. I've been going through some unusual, deep and profound healing cycles, which have absolutely liberated me. I feel amazing. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to start with the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I love this deck. I've not had it out for a while. I used it on my last couple of readings. We have got Wolf Moon, Hunger. This comes up. The wolf comes up so much for me lately. And hold on, there's one hidden in here. I'm sad at the way things turned out. I wish it was different. I'm going to keep that for you because you obviously needed that message from your person. Wasn't meant to be in there, but it slipped in. It was obviously meant for you. Creation, Beaver Moon. And Peace, Waning Crescent. Okay, let's get some animal cards as well. Whoop. Okay, they're all flying out for you today. We've got the Firefly. We've got the Tiger and the Lion. Lots of big cat energy. I forgot to ask you guys to ask for a sign. I always do that normally in my readings. Hopefully you remembered. A sign obviously just helps you anchor the message. It can be anything at all. We've got Oyster. That also came out for pile 1. How interesting. And we've got Dragonfly, which came out for pile 1 as well. And from the Secret Language of Light deck, this was a gift from Joy. Her channel is called A Journey in Light. I encourage you to check it out. She still does private readings as well. She's absolutely brilliant. I love you, Joy. Okay, what have we got? Grounding. And Soul Writing. I feel the urge to get you a Goddess card as well. I'm going to get more out as we go, but we'll just fill this space up for now. Parvati, Devotion. Okay, part 2. What do you need to know about yourself? I feel like you've been working through some very deep-seated issues recently. You definitely have an awareness of the need to heal yourself. It's something that's been rolling around in your mind for some time. I do see you taking time for yourself and acknowledging the broken parts of your heart space that need to be brought back into balance. What we're seeing here with this Four of Cups clarified by the Three of Swords is this propensity to be quite self-absorbed in your own suffering right now. It's very difficult for you to see outside the box because the pain is quite constant, and you know it has kind of called you to action. It's been positive in some ways, but it does feel like you're struggling. But the universe wants to tell you that you're doing all the right things and just to be gentle and patient with yourself. Interestingly, some of the energies here are quite similar to pile 1, so it may help you to read that, to watch that pile as well. The circumstances are different, but the guidance that's coming through for you and the underlying root issues are very, very similar. Because there's a concern here about making choices and taking that time for yourself. If anything, I feel like you're probably a couple of steps ahead of pile 1, but it may help you to reflect on the messages there as well. But what's actually happening here is that you're being challenged to start making changes in your life. You're very introspective and reflective about these changes. There is some confusion about what's next. A lot of the cards that have come up here, including the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Wands, the Hierophant, the Hermit, they came up in the pile 1 reading as well. And so, you know, we're seeing you develop healthier boundaries and moving through the challenges that present when you try and do that, and you're being asked not to give up. We've got the Nine of Wands in reverse here because you're really on the right track. And even though it's so hard when people keep crashing up against your boundaries and challenging them, you know, you mustn't give in, you mustn't give up. The message here is that you've got to keep going, that this is the right thing for you. Deep in your heart, you know this. Now, the bit that isn't similar to pile 1 is this Hierophant and the Knight of Cups here, because what's actually been happening is that with this chaser energy, I feel like you're more of a at the anxiously attached type. You are in that people pleasing energy, but you're not recognizing how you command that of others too. So, you know, you're in this chaser energy, but you genuinely have this perception that your expectations of relationships are normal because this is how you've been trained to respond in relationships. So this really needs to be brought back into balance. And as I said, I feel like you are seeing this and acknowledging this about yourself, but there's a struggle here in terms of what is the next step for you. It's like you don't know what to do next. You don't know how to transmute these energies and actually make it okay. You're trusting that there is a way forward. You're recognizing that there is a better way of doing things than what you have done before. And that in itself is half the battle won. You know, that awareness, that acknowledgement is a huge deal, and you should really congratulate yourself for having arrived at that space. I know that you don't feel that you've made progress, but in fact you've made beautiful progress because you are developing awareness. You're being honest with yourself about where you're at on your journey, and that is so very important. You know, we have to be able to acknowledge our own pain, our own misgivings, our own shortcomings in order to start, you know, tweaking and changing things so that we can really improve our situation. The universe needs you to know that everything you need and want is going to be fulfilled. The only thing that holds you back from this is your own fears. And there's some very deep abandonment wound here in your past. Now, this may connect to parents that left you, one or both of them, or parents that were emotionally neglectful or unattached. And that doesn't mean that your parents are cruel people, just that they were tangled up with their own dysfunction and didn't recognize the need, you know, to give you the emotional support that was required for, you know, a child in general. So there was no malice here, but there was just, you know, very genuine, unwitting dysfunction. These are people that just weren't as grown as you were able to be, and they weren't able to recognize the impact of their own behaviors, their own dysfunctions on you as a child. This goes very, 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 very deep for you. But what's really beautiful about this is that you, even from a young age, were an old soul, an old head on young shoulders, and you always sensed that something was amiss. And this deep knowing, this deep intuition belies your real age. You know, you probably assumed that everyone saw the world as you did, but they didn't. In truth, you are very, very skilled. You are very gifted when it comes to your psychic ability, and you've always had this burning truth in your heart that everything's going to be okay. You're quite resilient when it comes to coping with traumatic and difficult situations because you're used to picking yourself up and dusting yourself off. And I really get this lovely energy of a generally cheerful disposition in you. You know, there's a warm, loving and caring energy here and a natural sense of optimism. You dare to believe that things can be better, and this is what keeps you going. And this is what's allowed you to open up to the changes that are being, you know, presented to you at the moment. But there is this chasing energy here, this wearing your heart on your sleeve. Because you are so capable of being emotionally expressive and authentic, you think that's that everyone else should be that way as well. And in truth, of course, sometimes it's the healthier way to be, but you're not recognizing that there is dysfunction within that, because sometimes we communicate emotionally not to be authentic, but because we want reciprocity. And so there's an agenda. You know, I'm going to show my card, so will you show yours? Now, in some respects, as I said, that's healthy. And it's a really fine line when it comes to discerning where authenticity is at play or where our ego is at play. And this is where you're being asked to focus your attention, because quite often you're honest not because you feel you need to be authentic and express yourself, but because you're hoping to trigger a specific response, and then you experience crushing disappointment when you don't receive it. Now, you're not recognizing that not everyone copes with their trauma with the same strength that you have. You know, not everyone manages to maintain a pure and open heart despite the pain and suffering that they've experienced, which in your case has been significant. There is a spark of creation and light in you that isn't present by nature in everyone. Well, it's present, but it's not activated. And quite often when we experience trauma, that part of us shuts down, and you're not realizing that it took a great deal of strength for you to remain open-hearted, and not everyone has access to that power right now. They can access it if they choose to, but not everyone knows that they should. Not everyone knows that they can. And so you're being asked to be a little bit less judgmental about how the people around you communicate, because you do have very high expectations that are based on your own values, and you're being asked to recognize that not everyone is the same as you. It's not fair to judge everybody by your standards. We all have a different experience of life. We all have different fears and different anxieties, and your capacity to be bold and strong and to keep being open and authentic isn't a gift that everyone has access to at this moment in time. And so you can be very indignant and very demanding when it comes to your interactions with other people, particularly in romantic relationships, because to you, to be anything other than honest is just a madness. And you're quite right in many respects, but as I said, there is an imbalance here. You know, your authenticity doesn't always come from a place of truth. Your honesty is sometimes born of the desire to shame others, guilt trip others, and also to get what you want from others. You know, you want them to reveal their feelings, so you open the door and express your own vulnerability, and then you can become very angry when others don't respond in kind. And you're being asked to recognize that everyone's growing at a different pace, and that's okay. We are all on our own paths. The message here is that you need to continue focusing on your own. And for the most part, I see you doing this. There is definitely a reluctance, however, here to explore your deep spirituality. For sure, you're very interested in all the psychotherapeutic, psychological factors of your journey. You want to unravel the truth of your own dysfunction and wounding, but you're not recognizing that you need to step into your spiritual self, because that gives you more access to wisdom, more access to the information you need to move forward. Now, what I'm hearing with you is that your strength, your confidence, your very good nature is very triggering for the people around you. You know, people throw rocks at things that shine. And so you have a lot of adversity around you, a lot of people that are very intimidated by your light. And this leans in on you and can present as a very crushing energy. And so you're being asked to take responsibility for yourself and to remove yourself from situations where your light is not valued and appreciated. You know, if people around you are triggered, and they may have described you as arrogant, they may have described you as vain, you know, it's a funny contradiction, isn't it? We tell ourselves, or we hear that we should love ourselves, but some people are really threatened by that. Oh my God, look at that girl, she loves herself so much. You know, they find it really unattractive sometimes. But I think this also reveals how much you're not understanding other people's energy. Yes, it would be lovely if everyone could fit in with our own expectations and way of being, but that isn't real life. And actually, their frustration is mirroring yours. You know, you feel judged, but you're judging them as well. You perceive yourself as better. You're putting yourself on a bit of pedestal, and you do have a habit of telling people how they should behave. And when we tell people, especially if it's unsolicited advice, how they should behave, what we're really telling them is they're wrong. It's quite inflammatory. You know, obviously it depends how it's communicated, but sometimes you do have this kind of propensity to get on your high horse, judge others, be really indignant, you know, complain loudly about the things you're experiencing without realizing that the universe is just showing you that these people are vibrating out of your experience, and you don't need to change them. You just need to keep focusing on changing yourself. You know, there's no need to try and change others. And actually, that's a very exhausting thing to do, because we can't really change others. It's smashing your head against a brick wall quite needlessly. But what's really exciting about this reading for you, part 2, is that massive transformation is underway. And we've got a lot of big cat energy here. We've got the wolf energy. These are all predators. You know, they're very driven. They're very powerful. It carries the energy of leadership. And what you're now being asked to do is to take all of the drive that you normally apply to your material world, all of that passion, all of that diligence and hard work, and apply it to transforming yourself. But you need to be cracked open spiritually. This is the part that you're missing. And I'm hearing that you're quite judgmental of spiritual people. You know, the love and light thing doesn't always sit comfortably with you because it's a little bit too woo-woo and you don't want to be seen as a weirdo. You're quite a pragmatic person by nature, and some of it just goes a little bit too deep for you. Now, first and foremost, your spiritual beliefs are your own. No one needs to know about them. So there's no need to discuss it with anyone or face judgment. What you do in your private time, in your private healing time, is nothing to do with anybody else. There's a big message here about releasing the fear of judgment and stepping into your truth and really allowing yourself to be authentically you. You kind of are for the most part, and I do get this energy that you've made big strides in this world. You know, you have achieved so much and you should be very, very proud of yourself, but this is uncharted territory for you. You know, your spiritual development is so very important, and maybe you are already on that path for some of you, but there is a suggestion here that there's something rigid about it. You know, something rigid about your perception of spiritual growth that's holding you back. You need to allow yourself to expand a little bit more, let a little bit more light in, and to stay more open-minded. Now, what's really intrigued me about these cards, we've got creation with a beaver moon, and you can see there's this kind of scroll here, and you've also got soul writing. Now, you may be a creative writer by trade, perhaps it's something you do for fun, or maybe it's something you did in your youth and have put down and not picked up again, but you are a natural born channel, and there is something that you can bring through in the written word that's really valuable, not just to yourself, but for the whole spiritual community. And I think this is what frightened you, because you love reading about spirituality, you love watching these readings, you trust in other people's gifts, but you're not necessarily trusting in your own or putting them into action to support yourself. You're more inclined to seek guidance externally rather than tapping into your own truth. I do see that you've begun the meditative practice. We see this firefly here, this spark of creation, but the Page of Wands in reverse shows us that you're not really rolling with that energy. You know, there's a resistance there. You hold yourself back. You know that you're going to do it. You know that you should do it. And it's like you just don't make the time for it to happen. And so Spirit is saying to you, when you apply the same determination to your spiritual practices as you do the rest of your life, you're going to see massive transformative change. The oyster reveals that there is wisdom, treasure, love and light hidden deep within your soul that you still haven't accessed. You are an exceptionally powerful person, but right now you skate on the surface of this truth. You don't dive deep into it. It's like you like to kind of touch and tickle it, but you're afraid to get in the water. And so you really need to be braver. When the wolf moon comes up, and it's described here as hunger, you know, it reminds us that your soul longs for something more, and you have misinterpreted that longing as a need for love outside of yourself, a need to be in a relationship. There's a message here that you may feel your clock ticking, that you're frustrated that the relationships you've had or are having are not working out, and you feel this great deal of impatience to have it all now. Parvati comes through and reminds us that you only need to be devoted to yourself and your own spiritual journey. And from that perspective, that's when you start actually attracting exactly what you want into your life. You have to start giving it to yourself first. The grounding card comes through to remind you to get back into nature. You have this habit of rushing around, and even though you spend time outdoors, you don't actually pause to connect with nature and to enjoy its presence in your life. I'm seeing that there isn't a lot of earth energy in this reading, in fact, and so I think grounding will really be the key to you anchoring all of the work you're doing and helping to integrate it fully within your state of being. At the moment, everything feels fractured and scattered, like you're doing a little bit here and a little bit there, but you're not pulling it all together, connecting those dots. And so you really need to get outside. You know, even if it's for 2 minutes, when you're walking somewhere, you see a patch of grass or a tree, just pause, feet on the ground, take some deep breaths and ground yourself. And at least once a week, sit in nature for some time. You know, for half an hour, sit on the grass, sit under a tree, go into nature where you can, you know, observe it peacefully, switch your phone off and just be. You know, you really need to recognize that you, first and foremost, you are a human being and your energy needs to be grounded in the earth's grid. We can't avoid that. I do feel that you have strong starseed ancestry, and that keeps you very much up in the clouds. You have this tendency to be very up in your head, but because you're not grounding all of this wisdom, because you're not grounding what's going on in your subconscious mind, you're not integrating those energies and allowing them to truly become a part of who you are. Again, it feels fractured and you're being called to pull it all together. You are definitely a natural born leader, and you have the capacity to lead in this community and to bring so much light and so much guidance. You're being asked to start by writing, and you can do that privately. You don't have to share what comes through until you feel confident enough to do so. But as I said, you know, there's a missing piece of the puzzle here, and what I'm hearing is it's focus and grounding. You know, actually giving yourself time to unravel the energies that present, and also learning to trust what comes through for you rather than relying on that external guidance. You bring the light. You have beautiful I am presence. And so even though you're in a painful place right now, and sometimes your own mind can lead you to believe that you're losing, everything's going wrong, things aren't right for you, in truth, there's a little chink of you, a part of you that knows you will always land on your feet. As we saw with the star, you know, this hopeful sense of optimism that you were born with, it's like it was woven into the fabric of your being. And no matter the hardships you face, that little voice in you is always there telling you it will be all right. But sometimes it's drowned out by your own negativity, which comes from outside of you. It's nothing to do with who you are. The truth of you knows exactly who you are. It knows exactly what you need, and it knows exactly where you're going. And you have very, very defined and acute psychic abilities. Now, you know, our psychic skills aren't all made equal, much as humans aren't all made physically equal. Some of us will be fabulous athletes, others will be great at playing the piano. And whilst we can all turn our hands or our legs to piano playing and athletics, some of us will be really skilled at it. Some of us, it's almost like we're built to run or built to play the piano. And it's the same with psychic skills. Some of you will be more adept at certain things than others, but you have a good all-round ability when it comes to psychic work. And you're being asked to give yourself the time to investigate and develop this so that you can really start to make waves in your own life and the lives of others. And once you switch this on and turn your attention to it, apply the same leadership skills as you do to your material world, you're going to really see sparks fly. You're going to find more peace. You're going to find more abundance for sure. You know, everything is working out for you, Partu. Whatever fears have been muddying your judgment, release them. You know, you already have a solid foundation of optimism within you. You just need to tap into it and bring it forward. And that in itself is a powerful gift, because faith is everything. You know, when it comes to manifesting what you want, faith is an absolutely essential ingredient, and not everyone finds it easy to align with faith. But as we said, you've got this optimistic nature that's woven into the fabric of your being, and you can draw upon it anytime you need to. What else do you need to know? Ace of Swords, the Knight of Wands, the Eight of Swords, the World, Two of Pentacles in reverse, Ten of Swords, the Chariot in reverse, the Queen of Wands, Death, Judgment, Justice in reverse, and the Page of Cups. Okay, so the Ace of Swords. This is the card of truth, and I'm really intrigued that it's represented by a skull here, because of course a skull is symbolic of death and transformation. And when it comes up with the Chariot in reverse, what it's demonstrating is that the truth as you perceive it in this moment is distorted. There is something missing. It's not in alignment with the divine plan. And the message is coming through that it's wrong to be right. You've got to keep an open mind and an open heart and allow yourself to explore more options, more opportunities. A reader at some point has given you very specific guidance about why you're here, what you're meant to do, and what you need to do. And some of that guidance was accurate, but not all of it matched your path. And what happened when you received that reading is that you were being challenged to tap into your own discernment, but you didn't. You took this verbatim, even though it didn't all feel right to you, and you've been moving in a direction which doesn't quite resonate with your truth. And this is where you're getting stuck. There's a need to reconsider where you're going and to travel in the direction that the divine impulse offers you. You know, there's only two types of energy that we actually need to get comfortable with to improve our discernment and our intuition. One of them is magnetism, and one of them is resistance, and neither of them are rooted in logic. That's to say, you know, it might stack up on paper and tick all of your boxes. Well, this looks right. You know, it ticks all my boxes. This looks like the right thing to do, but it just doesn't feel right. So you need to put logic in the bin when it comes to discernment, and you need to feel into it. If it feels magnetic, which is an excited feeling, it's an undeniable impulse, an impulse we struggle to resist. If you know, that means it's right. It's the right direction for you. If you feel resistance, which is uncertainty, anxiety, reluctance, you know, the things that we think we should do, but we just can't bring ourselves to really commit to because it just doesn't feel good. You know, that's where we know that we're moving in the wrong direction. That resistance is communicating to us, this isn't right for you. And so when you align with that truth, just the truth of what feels good to you, that's when you get on the right path. And we see here with the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Wands that you're grasping that wand, you're charging forward with drive, you're following the divine impulse, the divine inspired guidance that calls you to action. There's some guilt or shame here for you around doing that. It's almost like you feel irresponsible when you're not applying yourself to the tasks that stack up on paper. And so you're being asked to let go of that. This is a very limiting belief that you have that is limiting your transformation. And at the moment, look, we see this beautiful representation of rebirth here with the skeleton holding the baby. You know, you are releasing all of those old cycles and patterns so that you can step more into your own lion power. You know, you've got to let go of how you think things are supposed to be, whether someone else has told you or you've been misguided at some point in your life. You need to let it go. Your world is opening up right now, and we have the Judgment card here, which of course is representative of the soul being called to action. And I think this is what gets you, because you don't want to be a spiritual woo-woo person. It's not the kind of action you want to take. But like I was saying about how it's difficult to discern between ego and intuition, you're being asked to listen to your heart. It will never guide you wrong. It's your ego that's saying this doesn't stack up on paper, it can't work, people will judge you. Your heart knows the truth, you know, and you resist making these changes because of some karmic interference in another area of your life that's out of balance. This could be a spouse that is nervous about your interest in spirituality. It could be family or friends, but there is someone in your zone of awareness that, you know, you are not changing because of. It's like you're resisting these changes because you're concerned about how you're going to be perceived. You are recognizing the need to heal, which is powerful. You're on the healing path, but you're not recognizing the connection between healing and your spirituality. And with the Page of Cups coming up here, you know, in fact, let me pull a clarify for this, because this one's a bit of a muddled energy. It's the King of Cups in reverse. Okay. Okay, this is quite a deep message. You underestimate your own emotional maturity because you are close to someone, and they could be a Scorpio, but they have very, very strong intellect. and they're also naturally inclined towards manipulative behaviors. This person is very shrewd. They know how to get what they want. They know how to make a person feel small. They know how to undermine and demean your beliefs and make theirs a priority, or make theirs kind of, this is like that top dog energy. I'm right, you're wrong kind of vibes. And so this undermines your power. It undermines what you know about yourself. You're far too quick to trust what this person is telling you about who you are and your motives for doing things. This person is a very powerful drain on your life right now. They don't know who you are, and they couldn't possibly, because they can't access that truth in you that you can. And so you need to stop paying attention to what this person's telling you. They're very much distorting your perception of what is. And whilst they may seem very, very clever, very intellectual, very emotionally aware, in fact, you know, they may have those skills, but they're coming at them from an ill-dignified perspective. And what they're doing is propping up their own fragile ego by trying to crush yours. And this makes you feel, and they may be much older than you actually, this makes you feel less than. It makes you feel like you have to bow down to this person because you're not as you know, adept or skilled as them when it comes to unraveling these matters. And that's simply not true. First of all, you know, someone with real emotional maturity doesn't feel the need to undermine or demean others to assert their own strengths. You know, that already is a huge indicator of ego being at play, and someone that's not communicating with you from a place of peace and real trust and good intentions. This is someone that may be unconsciously manipulative, but they are certainly working with other people on the basis that they need to constantly reinforce their own fragile self-esteem. You need to step away from that. This is connected to that unresolved karma that's keeping you stuck and inhibiting you from making the changes that you need to make. So we're going to get some guidance cards as well now. We're going to get some charms. I think we need to get some messages from your higher self as well. Let's do that first. Some messages from your higher self and final guidance from spirit before we take this to the extended, please. I'm very jealous. There is too much going on in my life right now. Evolve or repeat. There is going to be a seismic shift soon. Are you ready? The pain will not last. Stay strong and keep going. Find your soul tribe. Okay, let's get some more cards. I'm going to go with the Goddess Power cards. Love these. We've got Ocean, Generosity, Ceridwen, Potential, Gaia, Earth. From the Starseed deck, we've got Trust Your Path. So synchronistic with pile one, this one. Pleiades, that's that starseed stuff coming through. I think that's what triggers you. I think you maybe think all the starseed stuff is a little bit cheesy, a little bit too weird for you. And I'm going to get a LUMI card as well. I'm going to read this from the book at the end. I nearly forgot with pile one. I'm going to put it in front of me so I don't. Sacred Phoenix Heart. I want to get a couple of crystal cards for you. I'm not going to read these out because they're quite long, but I'm going to hold them up to the camera so that you can pause the video and read them. And this just gives you an indication of what crystals you need to be working with right now. Right, what have we got here? Obsidian, Shadows, Mirror, Amorphous, Sagittarius in Saturn. Rhodochrosite, Relationships, Healing, Karmic Lessons, Leo, Scorpio in Mars. Remember, Mars is the planet of conflict, and we had that Scorpio energy there that's really leaning in heavy on you and influencing you in very ill-dignified ways right now. One more. Cobalto Calcite, Love, Emotional Healing and Compassion, Cancer in Venus. So you can pause the video and read those properly. I'm going to leave them there. Let's get some charms and tarot coins as well and bring through this final guidance for you. Oh, quite a few here. Okay, what have we got? We have the Stethoscope, We have, oh, those are stuck together, the aeroplane, the love hurts charm, the crown, the record player, oh la la, perhaps some connection to France there. We've got the bicycle, we've got the paper aeroplane. That's the back of one, so I'll put that back. Okay, and we've got these tiny ones here. One says thank you. One is a baby pram. We've got a little elephant, and we've got the infinity number 8. So I'm just going to put those down over here because they're so dinky. And let's get some tarot coins as well. Okay, let's see what we've got here. We've got the 3 of Wands. We've got the 6 of Wands. We've got the Emperor and the Knight of Cups. So that card's already come out for you. Right. Messages from your higher self. I'm very jealous. There is too much going on in my life right now. Evolve or repeat. A seismic shift is coming. This pain will not last, and find your soul tribe. So, you know, I think this is a shadow aspect that you need to work through and be aware of. You know, jealousy is such a painful energy to be in. It is something you can transcend. There's no shame in it. It happens to all of us at some points in our lives. But of course, it does reveal where your real insecurities lie and the wounds within you that need to be healed. And whilst there's a lot going on, you need to continue evolving through this cycle or repeat it. You know, you can resist it as long as you want, but there is a seismic shift coming that is going to propel you forward, and you're being asked to get ready for this, to remember that this pain is transient. I know that you're really going through the mill with your healing right now. Oh, that is. I think it was a piece of sage. You're really going through the mill with this, but you've got to stick with it and reach out into this community to find some like-minded support. You are not alone with this, Part 1. Generosity, potential, and earth. You know, we've got Ocean, Ceridwen, and Gaia here, and I want to touch upon Gaia especially because this is a number 16, which also connects to the energy of the Tower. But when you put these numbers together, it's the number of divinity, the number of divine intervention. And again, you're being asked to connect with Mother Earth. I'm noticing that there's a pregnant lady on this card, and you did get the baby pram there. So there may be something connected to pregnancy or literally giving birth to a new way of being, as we saw in the Death card. You know, but right now you're being called towards creativity. Remember, we had that energy of creation as well. And to continue being generous with your heart. You know, resist the urge to shut it down. Quite recently, you've started to think that maybe, you know, your generous nature is what's causing you so much pain. In some respects, yes, it can be, but don't allow that to harden your heart. Your pure and generous heart is one of your greatest assets. The 3 of Wands reminds us again, with the 6 of Wands there, that you can have fulfillment, triumph, and victory in this situation. You're going to get control of your life again, you know, and that generous, lovely emotional authenticity that you're so very good at when it's balanced is your greatest asset. It's not a weakness. It may be distorted or out of balance right now, but you can use it to your advantage and you can use it in a more authentic way. So try not to abandon that part of yourself. You know, if you've been thinking, oh, I've got to shut down, I've got to stop being so, you know, chatty or expressive or whatever, you know, it's not about not doing it. It's about bringing it into balance. You've got to listen more carefully and think before you react. And you may need to revisit the past and the pain in the past to understand that. You're being asked to adjust your crown. And you do have a beautiful glowing crown. You know, adjust your crown and keep moving forward. Trust your path. You know, we've also got Pleiades here. And as I said, that feels like a very triggering energy for you. But you have got strong starseed ancestry. And it says here, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. You're meant to bring these forward, these messages and transmissions forward to help others as much as you do help yourself. And it says again, birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being, recognizing your power to manifest. Pay attention to music on the radio. This is how Spirit is trying to teach you. Oh la la, I'm going to let you interpret that. There's a connection here to France, the French language, something to do with, you know, France that may be relevant to you. The bike is always about the karmic cycles for me, you know, cycling through the same lessons until we get the gist of what's happening and we can move past it. And again, with this little paper aeroplane, and also this message that came through, I'm sad at the way things turned out. I wish it was different. I do feel that there are messages coming your way from a person in your past where things ended quite badly, they didn't work out, and you've always had that person in mind since. I really feel them coming back into your zone of awareness. This time you've got a higher perspective and you're going to navigate that situation with more grace. But first, you need to let go of this dysfunctional relationship. Here it could be a friendship, a parent, romantic, or something else. But there's someone here that's having way too much of a say in how you conduct yourself, and you're trusting their feedback about you, not recognizing it comes from a place of their insecurities and desire to control. So let's read this card for you. You've got the Sacred Phoenix Heart from the LUMI Oracle deck. We'll take this to the extended in a minute, but I love these cards. I want to read this out verbatim. Okay, so the LUMI quote for this one is, "Under the cover of blood, love veils many rose gardens. In total faith, love tenderly guides every lover to the garden of the heart. Reason says the world is limited in 6 directions. There is no way out. Love says there is a way, and I have travelled it many times. How I adore your defiant, rebellious heart. It knows that what for the mind is an end is for the heart simply another match to ignite the sacred flames. It eats of love until it is filled, and then it becomes hungry again and eats some more, again and again. It eats of love until it is so full, it simply must explode into a sacred fire of passion. It bursts, incapable of sustaining old consciousness in the expanse of blessings, unlimited, lavished upon it through the great beloved's affection. It would be like attempting to fit an ocean in a teacup, so it does not. It bursts forth like a dying star into spectacular radiance, only to be reborn again, new and hungry for the next feeding frenzy in love's great banquet. How I adore your defiant, spectacular heart. Love guides us through travails that seems improbable, if not impossible. It does not shy away from any challenge, from any cause. It cannot. It is just love's way. Love says to us there is always another way, and you are receiving this guidance now. Perhaps you are scratching your head quizzically, or are in deepest despair because you appear to have met a dead end, a frowning no or a dismissive laugh upon your quest to bring love alive. So do you choose to believe in love, or in the death of sorts your heart faces? Your heart shall rally. I choose death because that is the portal to new life, and so it is wise, you see, but you must be brave. To be burned in love, by love, for love will involve endurance of pain, but it will also place in it context. It is the shorter pain that is not compounded by erroneous thinking. The pain comes and goes quite quickly when you realize that love is simply playfully smacking your wrist and saying, "Not that way, beloved. There are great pitfalls on that path. Come, take this one where there shall be wine and dancing." You are guided to accept the closed doors, the death, the pain, and to let it become tinder for your fire. What a beautiful message, pile 2. I really hope that helped. I'm going to take this over to the extended. So if you'd like to join me there, you can find the link to that in the description box below. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me here. It really is such a great privilege to read for this community. I'm so very grateful for your presence here. And finally, a big, big thank you to the very generous souls that continue to send me donations, that watch my commercials. I appreciate you guys so much. when you watch my commercials, even though it's only 1 minute of your time, it makes the grandest difference to my channel, and I really do thank you for that. It keeps my channel ticking over, and it means that more people find these messages. So thanks for being here. Lots of love to you, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Tarot of the Divine, a beautiful gift I received from one of my viewers today, and the Serpentine Heart. And we are asking, what's going on with you, Pile 3? This is all about you. What do you need to know to help you find that sweet spot that leads to powerful and productive change in your life? You've got the power, even though you may not realise it. So this is all about figuring out where you're stuck, where you're blocked, and how you can move forward for your own highest good to achieve a more balanced, healthy, and happy life. Who knows what will come through? It's interesting to note that the energies of Pile 1 and Pile 2 were fairly similar. So I'm intrigued what comes through here. Now, if you skipped the intro today, I want to remind you to go back and check it, because there's a beautiful giveaway running this month. I'm giving away a bundle of crystals. I introduced them in the intro of this video, but if you want to have a proper peek at them, then check out my last video, the one I posted before this. It's called You and Them, What's Really Going On. And there's a long 10-minute intro there that talks you through each of the crystals I'm giving away and why. It's a collaboration with a lovely company called @LUMI GEMSTONES on Instagram. I've purchased quite a few things from them now, and I'm really satisfied with the quality of their products and the service. And so they very kindly offered to donate some of the crystals I'm giving away. Some of them are from my own collection. But it's really lovely for me to share that with you, and I'm excited to see who wins. So if you want to enter, the details are in the description box below and pinned at the top of the comments, but really you need to go and check out that other video so you can get a sneak peek at what I'm actually giving away and what you could be winning. But let's do this. I'm going to use the Oracle cards today. As always, we're going to go really in depth. There will be an extended reading if this resonates for you. I'm going to use the charms. I'm going to use the tarot coins. So we're going to get all of the details. I just want to give these a good shuffle, especially because it's a new deck. I do shuffle off camera as well, but I like to do it on camera so that you guys, you know, can see that I've done it properly. Although sometimes people do comment and say, you don't shuffle properly. There's too many reversals. But the cards come out as they're meant to. When we riffle shuffle like this is the same way they shuffle in casinos, and it's mathematically accurate. And that's to say that when we do 7 riffle shuffles like this, the deck is mathematically, I don't know if that's the right term mathematically, but the deck is, you know, properly arranged in a random form with a fair distribution of both reversed and upright cards. Anyway, let's do this. I'm excited to use this deck. It's stunning. You guys are so generous to me. I've actually closed my Amazon wishlist because I need to figure out where I'm going to store more decks. If I let more come into my home, no word of a lie, I have about 350. And I probably need to thin it out a little bit. You guys have helped me build a fabulous collection, which does keep my readings fresh. You're so very generous. But yeah, I need to figure something out because I'm running out of space to put them. Let's do this anyway. Pile 3. What do you need to know about yourself? We've got the 6 of Pentacles. We've got the 6 of Cups. We've got the Hermit. That's come out for every pile so far. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. We've got Strength in reverse. And we've got the Page of Cups. Clarifying these, we've got the 10 of Wands. We've got the 3 of Pentacles. I forgot to tell you guys to ask for a sign. A sign, of course, helps you anchor and validate the messages that are coming through for you. It can be anything at all, a symbol, an animal, a phrase, numbers. You can go ahead and ask one now while I'm still pulling cards. We've got the Queen of Wands there, 3 of Pentacles in reverse. This is the Chariot in reverse. We've got the 4 of Swords. And we've got the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So there is a common theme in today's readings, and they all refer to dysfunction in the childhood experience. which is interesting. I actually posted about this on my channel today as well, on my community page. Let's get some Goddess Power cards as well. We've got Scold, the future. We've got Nike, ambition. And we've got Gula, healing. Let me just check that these are all in shot. Yes, they are. Okay, I'm going to get some animal cards as well. The hyena, the starfish, the fish, and the beaver. And from the Queen of the Moon Oracle, we have got acceptance, discernment. Both of those cards have come up in all readings today. And we've got boundaries. And finally, I'm just going to get a couple more since we've got space, from the Secret Language of Light deck. This is a gift from Joy. She bought this for me a while ago. Joy has a channel called A Journey in Light. If you haven't checked her out, please do. She's fabulous. I'll link her down below. We've got Nourish. And we've got Vesica Pisces. I don't know what that actually is, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. Okay. So pile 3, what do you need to know about yourself? Now, for those of you that are looking for signs, I just want to highlight what's come out for you here. Obviously, you've got hyena, starfish, fish and beaver, but also you've got a pussycat here. You've got trees and skulls. You have got lots of Hawaiian vibes in this deck. You've got the deer, the bull. There's lots of fish. There's an instrument here. I forget what that's called. There's a lion. Is it a lion? It's a lion with a crocodile's head. There's a rabbit, a wolf that looks tangled up, some dolphins and a dog. So I'm sure more will come out as we go. Pile 3. Pile 3, you are very burdened right now. You're learning some very harsh and difficult lessons about reciprocity and give and take. And your overgiving heart is very much out of balance. And I'm guided to share with you how the heart chakra works, the mechanics of the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is one single channel. However, 2 energies have to pass through it. Outgoing love and incoming love. And when the heart chakra is out of balance, what tends to happen is these 2 energies aren't moving in an equal, balanced, harmonious fashion. In your case, the giving energy, the outgoing love, is so intense and so strong, it dominates that channel and leaves no room for love to come back in. And this means you give and you give and you give, and you wonder why you never get back. You feel so drained, and you may ask of yourself, you know, why can't I meet someone that's as loving and generous with their time as I am? This is a very painful acknowledgement for you, that you give and you give. You do so much good in this world, and yet you feel like you don't get the same loving energy in return. But in truth, pile 3, you leave no room for that to happen. Now, the love you give isn't as authentic as you would believe. It does come from a good place, but it also comes from a deep and overwhelming longing to receive love. And when we give love in order to receive it back, it's not real authentic love. It's love with an agenda. It's love with a need. It's love that's out of balance, and it distorts our heart space and doesn't allow room for us to receive exactly what we want the most. And this is the very harsh lesson that you're navigating right now. Intuitively, there is some awareness of this happening, and I'm just seeing the fly here. Also, which may be symbolic. There's quite a few insects represented in this card, but you know, this is the case of constantly emptying your own tank and putting other people's needs before your own, and carrying such a heavy burden because you feel so very lonely. You feel so very uncared for, and you've arrived at the conclusion that you simply don't deserve love, you're not worthy of love, you're not attractive enough, you're not successful enough. People like you don't have the happy ever after. This is the very limiting, intrusive beliefs that you stick with. Now, it does feel like you've met a soulmate in your life, and that person is not currently in a good place. They're not able to collaborate with you in a healthy and loving way. You may know this person from the workplace, but this person has definitely got a lot of learning to do, and your focus need not be on them. You are being asked to step into your own power, and I'm feeling a little bit of aggravation and inflammation behind this statement I'm about to share with you, so it may trigger you, but what I'm hearing is, but I've always been alone. You know, I've always been alone, and I'm tired of being alone. Stop telling me to get used to being on my own. I've been on my own long enough. But what you're not understanding is that there is power in that solitude, and because you resist it and resent it, it persists. What we resist persists. And so you're being asked to move into a state of peace. You think you're in acceptance of it, but your acceptance is not true. It's really seated on a foundation of resentment, self-pity, and, you know, bitterness that no one loves you in the way that you think you deserve. And so it's not really acceptance. It's a begrudging acknowledgement of, well, I'm just meant to be on my own. You know, that's just the way it is. But there's no real peace behind that acknowledgement. There's only pain behind it. You're being asked to step into Queen of Wands energy. And the Queen of Wands is Pisces, Aries energy. She has all of that beautiful purity in her heart that you have, the capacity for beautiful love and emotional expression. But she's also got that Aries energy, which is full of drive and passion and knows how to go after what it wants. And the thing is, at the moment, you wouldn't recognize real love if it slapped you in the face, because you're so desperate for love that you're prepared to sweep up whatever crumbs are on offer. And then you get frustrated when it's simply not enough, despite having willingly chosen that for yourself. You may not recognize it as a willing choice, but you know, healthy people who know their own value don't show up for relationships that don't match up to their sense of value and then get angry about it, you know, and demand more. They recognize that, okay, what I need to eat isn't being served here. So you're being asked to take responsibility for yourself, to recognize how you've ended up in this cycle of loneliness, which is essentially perpetuated by your own beliefs and your willingness to give and give and give and give, expecting that that's what's going to yield a return. And it's not. You know, there's nothing wrong with giving love. And there's nothing wrong with giving lots of love and not getting anything back. But it's only out of balance when you're giving so much to others, but not filling your own cup. And this is exactly what happens in your life. You care for so many people. You're a beautiful and thoughtful and sensitive friend. In relationships, you're so very kind and so very generous and always holding your partner at the forefront of your mind. And you don't realize how unhealthy that dynamic is, because you can't put other people before you put yourself. And with this Knight of Pentacles here, you're aware that you need to make changes, and there's a lot of planning occurring around that, you know. But with the Chariot here in reverse, whatever path it is you're on, it's not working for you. And there's a saying, I can't remember who said it, it might have been Einstein, to continue doing the same thing over and over and not getting the result you want is, you know, the definition of insanity. You've got to recognize that how you've operated today isn't working for you. Therein lies the secret, or the hidden element which allows for productive change. You've got to see that how you have functioned hasn't served you, it hasn't got the results you want, and it's not in balance. You can keep blaming everyone else for not loving you more, for not seeing your value, but in truth, you're not seeing your own value. When you're in love with yourself, you also become very attractive. And I promise you this is true. I mean, when I was growing up, I was never a bad looking girl, but I had no confidence and no self-esteem, and I certainly was never popular in love. You know, I was always overlooked. And it's because our energy precedes us. You know, the people that radiate health, self-love and confidence, they glow. They are attractive no matter how they look. And I didn't arrive at the energy of self-love until I was in my late 30s. And at that point in my life, I suddenly became very attractive. That's to say that suddenly I was Miss Popular and people wanted to get to know me. And my appearance hadn't really changed. If anything, I was older and more haggard looking. But what changed was my energy. You know, when I learned to love and value myself, I radiated beautiful, loving energy in every direction. I didn't have to give it, it overflowed from me, you know, because I had enough for myself. When you're giving from an empty tank, you're giving empty love. And it's an empty gesture because it's born of the need to get something back. It's not real love. And this is the truth that you don't realize about yourself, and you've been stuck in this cycle for a really, really long time. You think you don't have the strength to heal from this. There is this energy of acceptance. This is just how it is. My life is miserable, it's lonely, and that's how it is, and it's never going to change. And that is such a limiting belief for you to hold. Now, all of the energies of the past today, very similar in that they're connected to the childhood wound. Here we've got the 10 of Pentacles in reverse with the Page of Cups. And what this reminds us of is because you weren't on the receiving end of healthy love when you were younger, you weren't taught how to operate in the energy of healthy love. And so you've carried this dysfunction with you through every relationship, friendship and interaction you've had with other human beings. And, you know, you don't see why it doesn't work. The first step to productive change is recognizing what I'm doing now doesn't serve me. It isn't working. Beating myself up and thinking I'm not worthy of love doesn't work. Giving too much doesn't work. Believing that I will never find love and that I'm destined for loneliness is not working. So I'm going to try something different. That's the challenge for you, to rise above your very limiting beliefs and make the changes that allow you to move towards exactly what you want, because it is available to you. Your future is unwritten. It hasn't happened yet. And so to sit there with these what if energies, well, you know, this is how it is, this is how it's going to be, I'm never going to meet anyone, I just need to get used to being on my own, you know, that is so very limiting. It's so very limiting. You know, you're creating more of what you don't want by holding on to that belief. And so Nike reminds you to have drive and ambition for something bigger, to give yourself permission to want and expect and believe you're deserving of more. And for that, some healing is definitely required. You are very insecure. You're insecure about your appearance, you're insecure about your body, you're insecure about your accomplishments and the way you live. You are so very critical of yourself, and you blame the world for judging you. You blame media for creating an image of beauty which you don't match into. You blame society for not recognizing your skin deep beauty. You know, what you're not realizing is it's nothing to do with the perception of others and everything to do with how you perceive yourself. Like I said, this was exactly how life was for me. When I was a kid, when I was a young adult, all the way through my 20s and 30s, I had no idea of my own value. I thought I was ugly. I thought I was, my body was wrong. You know, I felt that my personality was skewed and that I was too loud or too boisterous or too, you know, in your face. And I decided that all of these qualities or negative traits that I had, you know, were inhibiting me from truly finding love. And of course, that wasn't true. It was my perception of self that set the tone for how other people received me. And this is what's happening to you. I transcended that energy. You can transcend it too. It came very late in life for me. But once I recognized this about myself, I transcended that energy very quickly, and you can too. It doesn't have to be a long process. It's simply the case of getting above the mind, learning to control that inner dialogue that bullies you, the inner dialogue that says you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're not good enough, you don't live right, you're not successful enough, you're not smart enough. All of these beliefs come from within you. We could argue that they've been conditioned by the people around you in society, but you still chose to willingly take them on and to repeat them back to yourself in a parrot fashion, and to allow them to infiltrate your inner dialogue. You know, part of being strong is to learn that other people cannot define who we are. We have to be comfortable with who we are in our own truth and dismiss anybody else's harsh judgments. We set the bar for our own value. Now, because you have such a weak sense of self and you don't value yourself, you tend to cling to relationships that are toxic, to relationships that don't serve you, because you worry that nothing better will come along. And again, you end up unhappy and you wonder why you can't meet someone nice. But in truth, you keep choosing people that if you felt good about yourself, you wouldn't give a second glance. You'd recognize that, okay, that person doesn't really treat me very nicely. I'm going to knock this on the head. And you'd know that after 1 or 2 dates. You'd observe the red flags. But to you, those red flags aren't obvious, because this is how you treat yourself. And again, you set the bar for what you invite into your experience. There's a lot of Pisces energy, a lot of fish energy in this reading, which makes me believe maybe you've got a lot of Pisces in your chart. You're a very sensitive soul. And it's very difficult being so sensitive in such a harsh world, because people do judge and people do say mean things. And, you know, it's very hard to rise above the ill-dignified comments and behaviours of other people. But it is something that we have to task ourselves with learning to do. It's something we have to be responsible for, because the world is full of assholes. And if we can't be loving and kind to ourselves and learn to override their harsh statements, we will constantly be at the mercy of all the people that do judge, that operate from a place of ego and say awful things. You know, for every person that you perceive as beautiful, successful, loving, you know, great life or whatever, they all face harsh judgments too. It's easy to assume it's just you because you're a crap person, but that's not true. People throw rocks at things that shine. If anything, sometimes, you know, being more attractive than the next person can be as much as a hindrance as it can be a help, because some people get jealous, they feel threatened, you know. It happens. Prejudice happens in every corner of life. It's not just reserved for the people that are, you know, perceived as not fitting into the societal norms of beauty, success, and so on. You know, prejudice occurs in every walk of life. The difference is that healthy people learn to ignore the bullies. They learn to walk away. They understand that those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. And this is the energy you're being asked to cultivate. There is work for you here to do. You are aware of that, but you're not taking the steps to make it happen. And again, you've got to be accountable for yourself. It's not going to happen on its own. The cake isn't going to bake itself. You've got to find the right ingredients. You've got to take the time to put together, and you've got to recognize that it needs a certain amount of time and temperature and environment for that cake to rise and come out, you know, freshly baked and tasty. And this is exactly what the healing path is like. It requires acknowledgement of the ingredients, the tools that you need. It requires time, patience, and dedication to put it all together. And it requires time to cook. So you've got to be patient and loving with yourself. And, you know, there's a fear here of facing your own wounding and your shadow aspects. You don't like to look into the past because it's so painful. But therein lies the key to your peace. You know, when we carry around the pain of our past, it's kind of like, my guys described it once as like shitting in your own water and then refusing to clean it out. Oh, well, it's happened now. I'm just going to keep drinking the water and I'll be fine. Obviously you won't be. You're going to keep poisoning yourself with the toxicity. But that's exactly what carrying around pain does to us. It's like shit in our water. we can't see clearly or be healthy when we're carrying that weight of pain. And it's never as hard as you think it's going to be. It's the fear of facing that pain again that keeps us from doing it, that keeps us stuck. And you're being asked to face it, to trust that you can and that you have the strength to override it. You've got acceptance and discernment here. And like I said, you think you're in acceptance, but you're not. What you're accepting is all of these negative things about yourself. You're trying to come to terms with not being good enough. You're trying to come to terms with, you know, being destined for loneliness. You're trying to come to terms with not being the person you think you should be. That isn't acceptance. That's self-hate. That's bullying yourself. You know, acceptance is loving who you are, valuing your body, valuing your own dear heart, and recognizing that you are enough, you're worthy and deserving of love. You've got to learn to love and accept yourself. And you also need to apply discernment. You know, you're very quick to judge other people's. You know, this is what I call reverse snobbery. And, you know, to give you an idea of what I mean here, and I say reverse snobbery because, you know, this is a very common thing that exists between class systems. You know, wealthy people, or I don't think class systems exist in all countries as they do in England, but in England we have quite clearly defined class system, which isn't necessarily about money, but because I'm rambling on. Wealthy people are perceived as looking down on their poorer members of society. Oh, look at them, they're not as good as us. And the poor people feel so judged, or believe that that is the wealthy person's perspective, that they judge them back. Oh, well, look at them thinking they're so big in their nice car. You know, they're so flashy. Look at them showing off all their nice car. You know, what an ugly trait to show off like that. You know, what's actually happening is it's a double standard. Both parties are judging the other. Now, in some cases, there's no judgment on one side of the fence. You know, the poor person might assume that the wealthy person is walking around judging them. They might not know that. And actually, this reminded me of something that happened to me once at school. Now, I used to be in the corporate sector. I had a really great job. I drove a really fancy car. And one Christmas, my then ex bought me a really expensive designer handbag for Christmas. And I arrived at school one morning late, and as I was walking back to my car with my new handbag, one of these mothers from the school that I'd never seen before in my life, I didn't know who she was, approached me. She said, I just want you to know, we all think you're really out of order for buying the same bag as Paulie. You've always got to be better than everyone else, haven't you? And this was insane to me because I didn't even know who this woman was. Now, their perception of me in my fancy car and my posh clothes with my designer handbag was that I was trying to be better than everyone else. You know, not to mention that if you had the money, it's normal to buy a better car, right? You buy the best that you can afford and you enjoy driving a nice car. It's not always about showing off. But I said to this lady, I don't know who Paula is. And I didn't even buy this handbag. I certainly wasn't trying to copy Paula. And she said, well, Paula's waited for ages to save up for that bag and you had to go and one-up her, didn't you? And again, I reiterated, I don't know who Paula is and I'm sorry she's so triggered that I've got the same bag, but I didn't even choose it. But that's a really classic example of what I'm trying to demonstrate here. You know, this woman had seen my handbag. She sees that I've got more than her and that makes her feel inferior. So she assumes that I perceive her as inferior. The truth was, I didn't even know who she was, you know. So you might judge other people based on how you think they perceive you. But in truth, most people aren't paying attention. Most people aren't judging you. Most people don't even know who you are, you know. But you've got to recognize there's a double standard here as well. You judge others because you perceive they're judging you. There's a lot of bitterness and there's a lot of resentment because you feel inferior, because you don't feel good enough. And so you're being asked to apply more discernment here and to recognize that ego is in us all. You judge and you prejudice against others and you perceive others in ill-dignified ways in the same way that you think people perceive you. But it all happens on the inside. It's nothing to do with people, other people, and everything to do in how you feel about yourself. Now, boundaries is all about recognizing when you're overgiving and taking that time and space for yourself. Having got into the habit of overgiving, you've actually cultivated a group of people around you that expect that level of giving from you. And so now there's a pressure to continue along those lines. You only need to nourish yourself. I'm going to get the book for this card because I don't know what Vesica Pisces means. Let me see. Let's get the book out and have a look-see. And there's the original note. I always keep them from Joy. I love you, Joy. Such a sweet tree. Okay. What number is it? 26. So 2 is the number of the High Priestess. 6 is the energy of unconditional love. Let's see what this card says. Creating soul truth in the world. Wow. How relevant is this? The outside world feels more real than the inner world because we have been encouraged to focus more on what is outside of us. We have learned to give things that can be seen by others or touched by us, more important than what we feel. Making decisions can become difficult where our awareness is focused away from our inner needs and wants. When our internal and external realities are integrated, decisions are clear. And it's about soul mastery, you know, creating soul truth in the world, connecting with your own soul truth and realizing that right now your focus on the outer world is truly distorting the perception of who you are, pile 3. You are so much better and so much more beautiful and so much more deserving than you allow yourself to believe. Right, let's get some more. We've got Justice in reverse, the Magician, Page of Swords in reverse, the 4 of Cups, the 3 of Cups, and the Hierophant in reverse. So there are so many important lessons that you are not allowing yourself to receive, and yet you have all the skills and all the tools to make it happen. There's unresolved karma in your past, and there's still a cord there attaching you to that resentment and pain and lessons that remain unresolved. A reluctance towards communicating and to expressing yourself, and so a lot of anger builds up inside of you, and when it does, you vent it and take it out on yourself. You blame yourself. You don't, you know, seek to communicate and resolve things. You hold on to all of this anger, all of this frustration, and it kind of just festers and grows inside of you. You're being asked to reach out into your community. That's been a common theme in all the piles today. Reach out, find your soul tribe. This is going to help you reframe your perspective. Sometimes we need to find loving individuals that can help us shine a light on the distorted beliefs that we're holding about any given situation. But that requires us to communicate about it and to be real and to be honest and to be receptive to the guidance that flows back. Let's get some guidance cards here. We're going to get some charms and get some tarot coins and more oracle cards as well. So we've got Bridget, creative spark. We've got Iris, communication. We've got Shakti, transformation. And we've got Maya, illusion. I want to get some more Queen of the Moon cards. Resilience. This also came through. Patience and the unexpected. And from the Work Your Light Oracle, Soul Family, the Age of Light, and Get Grounded. Let's get some oracle cards and tarot coins as well. Ooh, okay. Some of these fell out. Let me just get a couple more. Okay, quite a lot here. Pick these ones up that we dropped. So we have the yin yang whales. We have the paper aeroplane, the stethoscope, the living in perpetual sin rose, the Game Boy, I'm trying and that's enough, you are safe with me, the diamond, and this is a positive sign. Finally, some tarot coins as well. I'm going to take this over to the extended where we're going to go really deep on the practical advice. Actually, I'm going to get some messages from your higher self as well, quickly. Right, what have we got here? We've got Justice, so that came out for you already. We've got the Emperor. We've got the Star. And we've got the World. Messages from your higher self. What does your higher self want to communicate? You have to start taking care of yourself in mind, body, and spirit. I am not bad, I'm just broken. Apply humility, tact, and diplomacy. Be aware of your own behaviours. Stop what-ifing and let love grow. Pay attention to the triggers. They are showing you where to heal. So for some of you, there's a need here to rediscover that creative spark. There's a lot of joy for you to be found in the flowy nature of creative hobbies or activities. Communication came up here with the Page of Swords as well. And it does say, apply humility, tact and diplomacy. Be aware of your own behaviours. And that was kind of like the story I was telling you about the double standard of prejudice and judgment, you know. And, you know, you've got to start communicating with yourself about this. This is about communication as far as that inner dialogue is concerned as well. You have to start taking care of yourself in mind, body and spirit. You know, with the Emperor here, that's what's going to help you bring your life back into balance. Shakti, transformation is needed. Evolve or repeat. Remember what we said about Einstein's theory? I think it was Einstein. Keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. That's insanity. You know, you've got to make changes here. And a lot of the things that are keeping you stuck are illusions. You know, this is why it's saying stop what-ifing. Stop fearing the future and let love grow. Pay attention to the triggers. They're showing you where you need to heal. They're a positive sign. You know, you shouldn't resent the triggers. Yes, they burn and they sting and they wound our pride or they hurt our feelings, but they're showing us where we wounded and where we need to pay attention to our own brokenness. And it does say here, I'm not bad, I'm just broken. You know, forgive yourself for not being the person you wanted to be. You're not a bad person. You've done best with the energies that you've had, but now you're developing enough awareness to step out of that dynamic. This is not the end. You know, you're being asked to remain optimistic here. Messages are coming your way of a romantic nature, and you're being asked to listen carefully and to not judge this person. This person has addictions. They have their own dysfunction, and they're not trying to play games with you, even if it's perceived that way. So you're being asked to keep an open heart and to remember to apply humility, to be aware of your own judgments. You're trying, and that's enough. You've got to be more gentle with yourself. You really are a diamond in the rough. And remember that diamond started as a chunk of coal, you know, but look what happens when it's put under pressure. It turns into this beautiful glittering stone, one of the most valuable, well, the most valuable known to man. You know, you are safe. It's you that can give yourself the loving energy you need to be safe, to be happy, and to be comfortable. You know, you've got to find that creative spark in you again and get things moving. You're being asked to be resilient despite this pressure, you know, to recognize that you do have the strength to navigate this healing process, and that through that process you will grow, to continue being patient with yourself. And I think with this blue moon card, you know, you really can expect the unexpected. Someone from your soul family is coming back into your life. And it says again, call in your tribe. You don't have to do this alone. There's lots of whale energy came through for you, whales and dolphins. You know, they're all about song and sound vibration. So that might help you find the right people that can help support you and grow. But definitely I feel the energy of someone from your past coming back into your awareness. They may trigger you very harshly, but this is giving you an opportunity for that transformation, and you're being asked to see beyond the illusion of your own limiting beliefs. You've been training for this for lifetimes, pile 3. You are ready. And again, we've got empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. You know, this is where you'll transmute most of the negative energy. You know, rather than carrying it with you, send it back into the ground. Mother Earth's always happy to receive it and to help rebalance that energy so that you can let it go, you know, but you've got to face your own pain. Now, I'm going to get you a card from the Rumi Oracle, And I'm going to read it straight from the book because they're so beautiful before we take this over to the extended. In the extended, we're going to go much deeper. There's a few more things I want to dig into here. I want to look at this person that's coming back and what the very triggered dynamic is with that. I want to also get some very practical advice for you in terms of what you can do next. But let's get a Rumi Oracle card and read this from the book. These are so beautiful. Okay. Passion of the Wild Red Mother. Number 36. The energy of the Divine Empress. Divine Feminine Unconditional Love. I love that. Okay, let's see what number 36 is saying. Here we go. Don't ask the conscious ones about the wine. Behold the glowing effect of it in the eyes of drunks. So that was the Rumi quote. And it says here, bring me your unreasonableness, your insanity, your love without reason and your passion. The passion that makes you crazy, pardon me. So a blocked throat chakra is indicated here. I haven't got a cough, but my throat is really struggling right now. The passion that makes you crazy and choose all logical restraint from your mind. Leave your ordered thoughts, sensible plans, and appropriate attire at the door. Put on your animal fur and sing to me in gibberish. When my beautiful goats die, I make dreams from their skins and their spirits live on in my passionate play. There's a problem with communication here. Oh my God. I swear to God, I've not coughed all day. Bear with me, I'm going to pause the video and get a drink. Whew, pile 3. Wow, okay, where were we? When my beautiful goats die, I make drums from their skins and their spirits live on in my passionate play. When my birds drop their feathers, I gather them and put them in my hair. Come drum with me as I place feathers in your hair, and we honour the spirits of my animals, of your animal nature too, wild and free as you are in truth. Stick your tongue out and grovel at those who try to tame you with guilt, shame and fear. Do you think I give a damn for any of their silly games? Those games of reason and logic, of course you should do it this way, they say. It makes sense. But I care not for what makes sense. I care for what brings you alive. You, O blazing angel, are being invited by the Wild Red Mother to participate in the dance of divine passion. You may be an activist, a poet, an advocate for justice, or a writer, content in your own world of dreams, or perhaps you are a healer, devoted to the liberation of the suffering of others and hungry to commune with ancient wisdom. Perhaps you are all of these or some other exquisite amalgam of holy energy and form. Whatever your nature, there is passion in your heart, a fire for something more powerful than fear that can become the fuel for your life journey if you accept the invitation of the Wild Red Mother. This is the invitation to lay aside despair, to lay aside doubt in the capacity of the human heart, even your own frustration and impatience. It is time to stop whipping yourself and others, no matter how noble the intention behind the whip may be. Start dancing instead. Wow, how synchronistic is that? You've got to accept your own beautiful divinity. Stick 2 fingers up at the naysayers and recognize that 2 wrongs don't make a right. Release the double standards. Step into your own passion and move forward with grace, path 3. I'm sending you so much love. If this resonated for you, the link to the extended is in the description box below. Hopefully I'll see you there, but if not, thank you for joining me here. It truly has been a pleasure to read for you. I always appreciate this so much, and thank you so much to the generous souls that took the time to watch my commercials today. I appreciate that energy exchange so much. It makes the biggest difference to my channel, so thank you very much for your very, very generous time, and I will see you next time. Lots of love, sending you all the good vibes. Bye.